Now that we've finished our tracing in Adobe Illustrator, we're going to copy this and move it into Photoshop. Before we do that, let's go ahead and get into Photoshop. So I'm going to just minimize that for a second. And I do have a file that I saved that I had already cropped to the size that we're working with. And if you remember, that was an 11 by 17 size. So I can open that. So go ahead and open that with Photoshop if you still have it. If you no longer have that file or you can't find it, just set up a new file that's 11 inches by 17 inches with a 300 pixel per inch resolution and make it RGB color. Okay, and you'll be all set. I'm just going to go ahead and use this one since I have it. All right, now I'm going to go back into Adobe Illustrator. You want to make sure that your image layer is still locked and go to your trace layer and hit Command A, and that should select your entire trace. Then Command C to copy it. Go to your Photoshop file and Command V to paste it. When this paste window comes up, choose Smart Object. Okay, and since I never did change the size of anything, it should just be able to fit right on there without resizing or anything. Okay, I'm going to turn that background layer off. I can turn it on to use it as a color reference later if I want to, but I really don't need that layer at this point, which is why it's okay to start a new layer if you'd like to. I'm going to rename this Vector Smart Object back to Trace. So I know that's my trace layer. It is still a smart object, and you can see that by the little cloud icon at the bottom here. I'm going to add another layer, move it underneath Trace, and I'll just call that white. I'm going to dump white on that. You could name that background as well, but since I already have a background layer, I'll just call it white since it's just going to be a white layer. Okay, so at this point, we want to make that dot pattern for the skin areas. And to do that, we have to start actually a new file. So we're going to go to File, New, and we want to set this up as the exact same size as what we're working with. So we're going to go to inches, and we'll set this up as 11 inches by 17 inches. The resolution 300, and it's really important that we're in RGB color, and say create. Don't worry about naming it because this is just a temporary file and we're going to toss it in a second anyway. Click on your foreground color, and we want to change this to a specific color that's light gray. You'll notice you have CMYK values in the lower right hand corner here. We want to set these so that the C reads 0, the M is 0, the Y is 0, and the K is 20. And you can see that's that light gray color we're looking for. Say OK, and we're just going to dump that in the entire background. Now we're going to go to Image, Mode, Grayscale. When this window comes up, say Discard. We're going to go back up to Image, Mode, and this time we're going to Bitmap. You're going to get a couple windows that come up on this. On the first window, our output should be 300 pixels per inch, and the method we want is halftone screen. Then say OK, and here's our second window. On the second window, our frequency should be 7, and it should be lines per inch. The angle should be 45 degrees, and the shape should be round. And then say OK. And there's that dot pattern that we need. All right, we need to copy this and move it over to our other file. So Command A to select it, Command C to copy. Then we're going to just close this. Don't save. Make sure you've copied it though. And then Command V to paste. And we want to call this skin. While you're on the skin layer, go to the zoom tool that looks like a magnifying glass and zoom in really close so that you can then go to the magic wand and you want to select the white area. Be sure that Sample All Layers is off, and then click on the white area, and then we're going to hit delete, and that will get rid of all the white area, leaving only the dots. Command D to deselect, and then I will Command 0 to zoom out. So you can see I have a dot pattern all over the place here with the white removed. I'm going to turn off the skin layer and then go to the trace layer. And I'm going to use the magic wand to select all the skin areas. Again, make sure that Sample All Layers is off when you're doing this. So I'm just going to click around, holding Shift, get her neck, her hand, her shoulder, and then some of her fingers here. If you need to zoom in to get small areas, do that. Okay, and when you're sure you have all of your skin areas selected, you're going to go to Select Inverse, go to the skin layer, turn it on, and hit Delete on your keyboard. And then look at it carefully and make sure you did not miss any of the skin areas. If you did miss some of the skin area, then you're going to want to go back in history and make sure you're selecting all of the skin area, because once you delete those dots, they're gone and you can't really get them back. So I'm looking at this and I feel pretty confident that I did get all of the skin area. So I'm going to Command D to deselect, and going to look around. I'm going to use that zoom tool again just to look around and see if I have any extra dots that I don't want. Now you may have this, like let's say that your line for the inside of your eye was open right here and you had some dots inside the white part of the eye. Just use your eraser tool to erase those individual dots. But in my composition, I don't have anything like that going on. I don't have any dots on her lips, in her eyes, anywhere. So I think we're good to go on this. So I'm going to Command 0 to zoom out again. But we don't want to leave the dots black. We want to do a color overlay on this. So I'm going to go down to my Layer Styles icon, which is the FX, and go to Color Overlay. And then I'm going to choose a color. Now, if you want to keep it in a similar style to Lichtenstein, he used very bright kind of pink tones most of the time, somewhere in this range, so very cartoony pink tones. But if you wanted to get more of a true skin tone, you could come down into the oranges and look at some of these maybe browns and beiges that look more like a human skin tone. Okay, that's completely up to you. Some people maybe even want to make the skin tone green. It doesn't matter. It's whatever you want to do, so have fun with it. I think I'm going to go ahead and keep it true to Lichtenstein style here and go with a bright pink on that. All right, so that is going to be it today, is to get that skin pattern on your subject. We'll be coloring the rest of this later, the rest of our subject. So before I save and close out on this, I want to make sure that my skin layer is named properly, my trace layer is named, and I should have a white background layer. You may or may not have your original image. That just all depends on if you were able to find that file and use it. If not, it's okay if you started a new file and you don't have this. I could at any point turn that on and just kind of use it as a reference, but I don't really need to do that. So if you don't have it, don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. Then I'm going to file Save As. It's really important because I just started this file today. So last name, first name, and then Lichtenstein is Lichtenstein, and save.